Hey there, everyone. So sorry, my camera holder is not working all the best, but here we go. So I am talking about stress and your brain, and I just had somebody explain it to me this way, and I've been explaining it more in my office like this because I think it makes so much sense and you guys can actually visualize it. Sorry here for the camera, it's not holding on to my phone very well. But anyways, okay, so think of your brain like this, right? Your wrist is your brain stem. And then we've got your 4 fingers here are your prefrontal cortex. And then inside this thumb is your limbic system. This is like your emotional brain. Okay, so it's gonna control your emotions. Okay, so what happens when we are exposed to stress is that this prefrontal cortex, which inhibits a lot, gets basically disengaged. And so when we are, whether we're stressed, any chemical, physical, emotional stress, subluxation is a stress as well. This prefrontal cortex gets disengaged, and all of a sudden we go into our emotional brain. So this is where like the temper tantrums, maybe some things that we just can't explain, like oh gosh, like why are we lashing out? Why are we getting super upset when it's not really a big deal, but it's stress? So this gets disengaged, and then we go into our emotional brain. And so the thing with our emotional brain, you guys, this is sympathetic driven. This is that fight or flight. And so it turns off our parasympathetic, which is, it regulates digestion, it regulates reproduction, it regulates healing. We need all of that to be turned on, right? Like we need that rest and digest nervous system to be turned on. And we shouldn't be in that sympathetic, that fight or flight very often. But stress will inhibit this prefrontal cortex, and all of a sudden we go into that fight or flight. We go into the emotional brain, and all of a sudden it's like, holy cow. I mean, right? We react to us adults as well, but really think of our kids and their temper tantrums. Sometimes when they cannot control their emotions or they cannot focus, right? That's all this emotional brain. And so what we want to do when we are reducing stress in the body, or better making our bodies better able to adapt to stress, it's not that we're never going to be under stress, because we are under stress, but we want to make our bodies more adaptable to it, so that when we're under stress, it doesn't always disengage this prefrontal cortex and go into our emotional brain. We want to improve that prefrontal cortex so that it can stay like that. So when we do an adjustment, we know it affects the prefrontal cortex. So what we want to do, you guys, stress, super bad for the brain, but we want to make sure that that loop between the brain and the body with our adjustments is constantly flowing, because otherwise when it's not and we have those subluxations, that too is stress for our brain and will disengage that prefrontal cortex. So why is it so good for us to be going to a chiropractor and getting adjusted regularly? It's all for brain function, you guys. Better able to adapt to your stress that you're under just in everyday life, so that you can better heal, you can have better reproduction, we can have better digestion, all of that stuff, and we're not always going into our limbic or our emotional brain. So I hope you guys found it interesting, and until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. Bye.